As the movie starts, we see two hobbits catching fish. One of them captures a fish with his fishing pole, that is a huge fish. He was unable to pull the fish out and thus falls into the pond. The fish drags him when he falls into the pond. He sees a ring that has been lost in the pond for hundreds of years. This is the same ring that Frodo has today. That hobbit carries the ring and comes out from the water. Meanwhile, another hobbit arrives, whose name is Smeagol and who is now known as Gollum, and now he is going with Frodo. After looking at the ring, both of them attract to it and want to take that ring. Smeagol asks for the ring, but other hobbit refuses to give it to him. Then both of them have a fight. Smeagol kills another hobbit during their conflict. Smeagol is later exiled by his people. He then goes to mountain caves. Smeagol has begun to live in the caves, where he eats uncooked fish. Time has passed. After 2,500 years, Smeagol has been completely changed. Then the scene shifts to the present. We see, Gollum is leading Frodo and his companion Sam on a way to Mordor. They are now not very far from Mordor. Gollum is fighting with his good and evil will once more. His good will asks him not to hurt them and his wicked will intends to kill both of them. Gollum does not believe Frodo and intends to kill them on the way and wants to get the ring. When Gollum is planning and talking to himself, Frodo's friend Sam listens all of this. He beats Gollum badly but Frodo stops him, stating that we cannot proceed without Gollum. Now three of them move and Gollum tries to provoke Frodo by telling him that his friend Sam wants the ring for himself. The scene shifts to Gandalf. He and his companions arrive at Isengard where Saruman is imprisoned by trees. The man who spelled on the king and made him follow Saruman's orders is also there. Saruman had that king in his control because of him. Gandalf now requests Saruman to reveal all the secrets. That king says to this man to Saruman, "Come with us." However, Saruman claims that he is my slave, and in the meantime, he attacks him. He draws his knife and stabs Saruman in the back. Meanwhile, Elf shoots an arrow and kills the man. When Saruman falls, a sharp piece of wood pierces his body, killing him. Saruman possesses a mystical ball, which falls into the water when he dies. Pippin takes it but Gandalf takes that ball into his custody and everyone goes from there. At night when everyone was sleeping, Pippin notices that Gandalf is in sleep. He takes that magical ball. Then he feels something as he holds that ball in his hands. Actually, it was Sauron's magical ball and he used it to communicate with Saruman. At the same time, Gandalf gets up and takes the ball from him. Pippin could not bear the power of that ball and gets fainted. When Pippin wakes up, Gandalf asks him that what he has seen. He claims that he has seen a city on fire and that he has seen Sauron's burning eyes. Hobbit was referring to the city of Aragorn, whose ruler was Aragorn. Sauron was scared of him because Aragorn's people had chopped his fingers and separated the ring from him. Gandalf tells that Sauron does not want the people of Middle-earth to come together. Now Gandalf has arrived in the city which Pippin had seen in his dream. Boromir and Faramir's father was the ruler of the land. He was completely devastated about his son Boromir's death, and he does not like his younger son Faramir. When Gandalf informs him that his city is in danger, he refuses to accept any help. Gandalf informs him that Sauron has made a vast army and is preparing to attack Gondor city. Gandalf claims that Sauron is still hiding one of his most dangerous warriors. Gandalf was referring to the dragon rider, which had attacked Frodo. On the other hand, we see Gollum, Frodo and Sam reaching out towards Mordor's path. They have arrived a mountain, which consisted of numerous steps. They had to go upside after climbing those stairs. They see the dragon and evil orcs army there. When they sleep on the way, Gollum throws their leftover bread. He then tosses the chunks of bread on Frodo's friend Sam. When they see that they are missing the bread, Sam believes that Gollum has taken it. Gollum is badly beaten by Sam. Frodo's condition, on the other hand, was not stable. He becomes quite weak after wearing the ring so long. Sam tells Frodo that his condition isn't stable because of the ring. He says to Frodo that you can give it to me for a while. Frodo, on the other hand, pushes Sam away and asks him to step aside. He tells Sam to go back, which makes Sam upset. Gollum seems to be successful in his goal. The king of Gondor, on the other hand, is unwilling to seek the help of the Rohan king. Gandalf, on the other hand, indicates that they need help by starting the fire. They're all leaving now to help them. One night, Arwen's father arrives as they prepare to leave. He claims that Arwen is dying as the force of darkness grows stronger. As the strength of darkness grows, the power of stars diminishes, and Arwen dies. Because he loves Arwen, he tells Aragorn that he won't be able to win this war. They claim that the enemy's strength is far stronger. He tells him that there are still a lot of shadows on the mountains who can join you and help you win this war. Aragorn says that they would not come. Arwen's father says that they will come when the Gondor king will call them. He presents Aragorn with the sword, with which Sauron was killed. That sword was recreated. With the help of this sword, Aragorn sets out on a journey through the mountains. No one has ever survived the journey. Meanwhile, Gimli asks what we will get. Legolas claims that these people cast magical abilities. They promise Gondor's king's help, but they can't fulfill and flee. That is why they are cursed, that states, until they don't help the king of Gondor. Their spirits will be trapped here for eternity. It's been told that one day the king of Gondor would pass through the paths of the dead. And here is the king of Gondor on the paths of the dead. Their horses flee after getting terrified to see hundreds of skulls there. Meanwhile, a spirit appears and asks who has dared to enter this place. Aragorn tells the spirit, "I am the king of Gondor, and you must obey me." At once, a large number of skulls began to fall. 3 of them have to run to save their lives. They make it out. After it, they see Sauron's army approaching through river. Many humans now have joined Sauron's army. They have set fire to the houses in the village. Then that spirit comes to Aragorn. The spirit says that we will stand with you and fight for you. Sauron's army, on the other hand, is attacking Gondor's city. The king has gone insane. He believes that his other son, Faramir, has also passed away. They plan to cremate him, but meanwhile Gandalf appears. Sauron's massive army has come. This army has massive elephants, a dragon and many beast-like creatures. It was impossible even to face them. Rohan's king also arrives here with his army to help Gondor. Sauron's army smashes the Rohan king's army with their massive elephants. Meanwhile, the shadow dragon rider appears by ridding his dragon. The Rohan king is thrown away by his dragon. King's niece comes to save King and beheads the dragon. She is a young woman dressed as a warrior who had secretly entered the army as a man. The Black Shadow says, "No man can kill me." The king's niece pushes her sword into his face and says, "I am no man." In this way, the shadow passes away. After it, we see the army of Sauron approaching through the river. Orc's army had already arrived and asks that why are they so late. Aragorn and the dead man's army appears from the boat. Meanwhile, Sauron's and Aragorn's dead man armies are engaged in a fierce battle. On the other hand, humans eventually win, but Rohan's king dies in the process. Both the kings of Rohan and Gondor have now passed away. Now the king of the dead army comes to Aragorn. He says that now we have fulfilled our promise, release us. Aragorn releases them all and they all disappear in the air. Frodo, on the other hand, is not very far from Mordor. He sees some bread over the mountains and suspects Sam. So he returns to Gollum. After some time, Frodo and Gollum both arrives at a cave. Gollum tells Frodo that he must have to enter the cave. It is the only one way and Frodo goes in there. There are several large webs inside the cave. Meanwhile, a huge spider arrives, intending to eat Frodo. Gollum wants that spider to kill Frodo in order to get the ring. Frodo saves himself from the spider but got attacked by Gollum. At the same time, Gollum falls from the mountain. Frodo was becoming weaker as the ring was going closer to Mordor. When Frodo was about to leave that cave, the spider stings him and he gets fainted. The spider covers him in its web. Before the spider could do anything more, Sam arrives. Sam encounters the spider and fights it. He makes the spider to retreat. Sam tries but fails to grip Frodo and fears he is dead, but he is just unconscious. Meanwhile, 2 orcs appear and takes Frodo with them. Sam is aware that he is still alive. Those orcs drag him into a fort and remove his clothing. Those orcs attempt to kill Frodo, but Sam arrives and kills the orcs, rescuing Frodo. Frodo apologizes and tells him that everything is over. They've taken the ring. Sam says, "Nothing happened, I have the ring. I thought that you are no more, so I took the ring." He tells Sam to give him the ring, he'll bear the burden. They need to get to Mordor, but it isn't easy to go there. An army of tens of thousands of orcs is on its way. Gandalf is also aware of this. Gandalf makes the decision to attack Sauron's army. The army of Sauron had arrived. Sam and Frodo's dressed as Sauron's army. So it wasn't simple to identify them. They were both heading for Mordor's mountain. They must destroy the ring, but Frodo falls on the way. When he says he can't walk any further, Sam put him on his shoulders and moves to Mordor's mountain. Humans and Sauron's troops are fighting on the other side. Gollum attacked them both as they are near. Gollum was to kill Frodo, but Sam throws a stone at his head, knocking him out. After a fight between Sam and Gollum, Frodo takes advantage of the situation and enters Mordor's cave. There is a lava stream flowing there, and Frodo is finally here. Sam tells Frodo to throw the ring into the lava. But Frodo doesn't, and he dives right into the ring's enchantment. He says, "This is my ring," and he puts it on his finger. He appears in the ring's enchantment as a king who owned the ring many years earlier. Frodo wears the ring and disappears. Sauron now knows that the ring is in Mordor's mountain. The dragons that were in the war leaves from there and enters Mordor's cave. Frodo departs from there, followed by Gollum. Gollum tracks him by his footprints. Then Frodo is attacked by Gollum, who bites the finger on which he wears the ring. He takes his finger out of his hand. Frodo appears later, and Gollum gets the ring. Gollum was overjoyed to have the ring. Frodo, on the other hand, still wants to take the ring from Gollum. The human army, on the other hand, was getting defeated from Sauron's army. Gollum had the ring here, and Frodo was supposed to take it from him. Meanwhile, there both falls down from the mountain. Frodo manages to stay alive by clinging to a cliff, while Gollum falls into the lava. Frodo is pulled upside by Sam. The ring melts when it falls into the lava. The ring returns to the location from which it originated. Sauron's army also gets vanished. The ring is destroyed. In this way, goodness wins over evil. Aragorn is crowned king and married to Arwen at the end. When the king Aragorn stands in front of 4 hobbits, they bend their heads. King tells them that they will never bow in front of anyone. All the famous people prostrate themselves in front of those 4 hobbits. These hobbits return to their home after 13 months. Sam marries the girl he loves. Frodo spends 4 years in his city and writes a book. That was about Frodo's travels. Later, he and his uncle Bilbo Bagging travel to Middle-earth. When his uncle grows old, the elves want to take him with them. Gandalf was also present there, and Frodo was also going with them. He gives Sam the book that he has written. He says that his journey is still incomplete and he goes with them. The movie ends here. Thank you very much for your time.